In today's Technique Tuesday, I'm going to show you how you can get smooth handheld footage. No gimbals, no sliders, just you and your camera. In the lifting world, there's mind-muscle connection. In the run-and-gun content creation world, there's camera-muscle connection. So, tip number 1, get a comfortable grip on your camera. Nothing causes shaky footage more than fatigue, so get comfortable. The basic form is going to be getting both hands on your camera, one on the grip and the other on the base of the lens. Most shoots are a marathon, not a sprint, so conserving your energy is going to help make your footage throughout the day smoother. One thing I swear by is using a camera cage and having a grip attached to it so I can hold the camera like this, giving you a more stable grip. If you shoot a lot of low angles, you should also consider a top handle. Tip number 2, shoot close to your center of gravity. When your arms are fully extended, not only are you going to get fatigued faster, but on top of that, it's harder to make small adjustments without shaking your camera. Instead, pull the camera as close to your body while still being able to see your screen and while staying comfortable. Again, think about that camera-muscle connection. You want to treat the camera as an extension of yourself, and once you get that down, the smoother you can be yourself, the smoother your footage will be. Tip number 3, get low and use your legs. When you're trying to do larger sweeping pans or orbits, make sure to get low and use your whole body for the panning movement. Slide from one knee to the other knee like you're doing a Goku leg stretch. You'd be surprised just how often I use this technique to get smooth orbiting shots. Yes, you're gonna feel a little ridiculous, but the shot you get is going to look amazing. And if you're like me, you have to do what you have to do to hashtag get that shot. So you're gonna wanna just get low. Oh no. Oh wait. Tip number 4, walk like a ninja. Similar to the last tip, think about how you walk around the house when you're not trying to make sounds getting a snack in the middle of the night. Try to absorb the impact of your steps while walking forwards or backwards, always with a focus on keeping the camera stable. Combined with image stabilization, you'd be surprised how stable you can get your walking footage to be with enough practice. That brings me to tip number 5, turn on image stabilization. Check to see if you have an OIS lens, aka optical image stabilization, which is a feature on some lenses that actively stabilize the glass elements inside your lens. Or if your camera has IBIS, aka in-body image stabilization, which stabilizes the sensor itself in your camera. Turning either of these on, or even both, will make a huge difference in how stable your footage will look. If you shoot handheld a lot, then for the next camera you get, this might be a big consideration. Not all IBIS is made the same. Panasonic cameras have some of the best-in-class IBIS, though the Sony ZV-E1's dynamic active IBIS is looking not too shabby. Tip number 6, shoot wide, not tight. Like we've discussed in earlier episodes of Technique Tuesdays, the farther you zoom in, the more pronounced your camera movements become. So trying to keep a frame stable becomes much harder at 200mm compared to trying to keep your frame stable at 20mm. That's why I try to use more wide angles if I'm trying to get smooth looking shots. But just to show you how much optical image stabilization and in-body image stabilization helps, look at the same shot with both of those turned on while shooting at 200mm. Tip number 7, don't try to be a tripod. When you think about trying to get stable footage, you might think, I'm going to try to stand as still as possible, but trying to stay completely still will actually cause jittery looking footage. Think about it. If your goal is to emulate a stationary shot, any movement will jump out at the viewer. And those movements will likely be camera shakes you experience while trying to hold your position steady. Instead, try to add the slightest of sways if you're trying to record in place for a long time. I use this technique all the time when I'm handheld shooting speeches when I can't access a tripod. As a general rule, adding motion hides camera shakes and makes the movement look intentional. Tip number 8, fix it in post. If you've gotten your shot mostly stable and you just want to make it perfectly smooth, try adding the warp stabilizer effect in Premiere. This is what we call electronic or software stabilization. The image is cropped in so that the camera, or in this case program, will try to figure out what the movements are in the shot and try to apply the opposite digital movement to make it look smoother. This doesn't always work for trying to fix really shaky footage. As you can see, you'll end up with some of this really weird distortion, but if you're applying it to the footage that's just a little shaky, you'd be surprised how close your footage will start looking like it was shot on a gimbal. Tip number 9, use slow motion. Finally, if you have the option of shooting in 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, when you really want to get smooth looking footage, shoot in 60 or 120 FPS and slow it down to 50 or 25%. Combine that with all the tips we've talked about today, like shooting close to your center of gravity, getting low, using image stabilization, shooting wide, and adding warp stabilizer, you can end up with some really smooth looking movements, all while shooting handheld. So I've gotten a bunch of great recommendations for other Technique Tuesday videos, and I want to hear more of them. Let me know in the comment section down below what else you'd like to learn about, and maybe that'll be the next video. Alright, as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.